my name's Larissa Mendes, and in today's news, we're going to be discussing the new concept of UberFreight. So, most of you would have heard of Uber and Uber Eats. It's quite a household name these days, but what is UberFreight? Will it be successful here in Australia, or will it be simply a failed venture that they really should have stopped with Uber Eats? So, the huge success of Uber came from a simple idea in a fairly uncompetitive market at the time. The transport industry had traditionally consisted of public transport, personal vehicles, and then, of course, the taxi and chauffeur services. Transport connects us all with our everyday life. We get transport to our jobs, to our families, to all our essential services each and every day. As found in the trend analysis on transport now up until 2040, 1 in 8 people in Australia use public transport on a daily basis, which sounds like a lot, but in comparison, personal vehicles and ride sharing options are still the preferred means of travel, with accounting for 80% of travel in Australia at this point in time. So, with such a huge market share and market population, the only real contender for quite some time has been taxis and 1-3 cabs. And taxis were driven by high prices and rigid old systems where you literally had to pick up a phone to order your cab. You had no live updates, no fare estimation, and no live connection to what was happening. This is what Uber used to their advantage. They entered the market as this new contender, which was described in their newsroom on their website, that it was developed by 2 entrepreneurs who thought of the idea of having a smartphone app that you could just click and order your ride at the tap of a button on your phone. You could see live everything, which in the past 10 years has quickly dominated this market and become such a household name, built on its exceptional service and constant updates that reflect current market trends. Through this success, Uber then expanded into the food delivery industry by using the same concept to deliver takeaway to your door. The next big idea Uber's come up with is UberFreight. Now, this hasn't been rolled out in Australia as yet, so will it be a success or will it just simply be a failure? My bet, honestly, is that it likely is not going to be as successful as Uber and Uber Eats were on their rollout. UberFreight's going to be based on the same idea as booking a ride through an app on your smartphone. However, consumers will be able to book freight loads for goods to be transported to any destination, competing with the likes of current freight companies such as Toll and Linfox. So, using Porter's 5 forces to examine aspects of this transport industry, we're going to look at 2 major forces that have a real likely effect on whether this venture will be a success or failure. And that's really going to be bargaining power of suppliers and of buyers. So, looking firstly at the bargaining power of suppliers, in this current market, it's going to be a huge part of whether UberFreight has the potential to enter the market and be successful. Freight companies such as Toll and Linfox have based their business models on owning their own large range of fleet vehicles that travel across the country, so they have the ability to offer exceptional transport rates through competitive rates and suppliers which can offer them fuel and vehicle maintenance. So it's unlikely that UberFreight will be able to compete with these prices, as the ability for owner-drivers who are contracted to use their own vehicles will not be able to offer services as cheaply as those other freight companies can do across the board. Freight companies often also combine multiple trips and jobs based on their delivery locations, which reduces their costs and increases their revenue, which UberFreight won't necessarily be able to do as easily because their business model is based upon users impulsively booking via an app for a now service rather than something that's later and planned, which will be able to help in reducing costs. So the Bureau of Australian Transport and Economics have analysed the freight industry to be a highly competitive market as it is, with large companies dominating the market and smaller owner-driver business companies accounting for only 12% of the market share. So these large companies are dominating the market due to their strong connection with suppliers and well-established infrastructure networks. It's highly unlikely that a small add-on service to UberFreight, will be able to compete with these prices and product offering as these other freight companies do, and they're established in doing so. I also see a large issue with bargaining powers of buyers. Buyers are consistently wanting to buy products and services at the lowest possible prices. That's just life. They want high quality products, greater levels of service, all at the lowest prices. Tying with Tying in with the power of existing freight companies hold with their suppliers, consumers are likely to opt for the well-known established freight companies such as Limfox and Toll to get the cheapest prices and the highest quality rather than using new untested means such as UberFreight. UberFreight may be successful, but I highly believe it should stick to more smaller deliveries and packages as opposed to offering truckloads and B doubles and stuff like that. That's really not something they are well established in. So to summarise, I don't believe UberFreight is, considering its current business model, will be a successful venture for them. Using a small sector from Porter's Five Forces model on this industry level shows large potential failures in this startup, and Uber should strongly consider if this would be beneficial for them to start with their chain of smartphone apps.